Hi, this is .NET Core Basic Tutorial Part 6, and this is the continued tutorial from our tutorial Part 5, the API. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a web application to use this HTTP client to communicate with our API system. And this is our model. In the last tutorial, I showed you how to use this API to create this HttpGet and HttpPost to make a request and get a response from our database, the table. And today I'm going to show you how to create a web application by creating this simple form. When the user input this inside this title and the owner and the due date, and click on this set button, web application will send this HTTP client to the API to request HttpPost to our database to save the data into our table. And first thing that we need to do in our web application is to create this helper. We will create a helper and put this HTTP client inside our helper. And there are two things that we need to bring in from the API. First is the API address. And we need to set this API address inside our web application, inside this helper HTTP client class. And the second thing is the model. We need to have the same model set inside our model under our web application. And this model will contain all the items inside our table of the database. So the advantage of this API is if you have assigned information inside this database and you don't want the other programmer to direct access into them, so you can just provide some information that's a request for that programmer to create this web application inside the API models. Is this for example the project.cs model. Next, we need to create a controller to make a request or make a call to our API get all project, get project by ID, add project, and other project by ID, and finally the deliver project by ID. So this is the thing that I'm going to show you how to do it in this tutorial. So let's go into the demo. Let's start your Visual Studio and create a new project. Select this ASP.NET Core web application. Make sure it's under the C#. Click on this next button and give a name to your project. Just release like this the web application server. And select web application model view controller and click on the create button. After the system has created this web application for you, the first thing we need to do is to, as what I told you just now, that we need to create a helper class. So add a project name here, right click, select, add, and create on this select this new folder, and name this folder helper, and right click on this helper folder and click on select this add again, and select this class. We need to add a helper class, and name this class as a helper. And we need to change this class name to the other name because this helper is sent the namespace name over here, so we need to change it to the other name. We need a method for this HTTP client, so you can create a public HTTP client method. And you have an error because you need to input a library. So you create and you select this using system.net.http. And next you just give a name. You can name it or anything you like. Here I just name it initial. And just create a object for our HTTP client class. And now we need to set the address of our API into our client object. Type the URI, and inside this URL, we need to pass our API address into here. So to get your API address, you can go to your API. You go to your API project that we created in our last tutorial, the tutorial part 5, and you can go to your property under the property, you have the wrong setting to a JSON file. You click on it. And here, under the III Express application URL, you have this address. You just copy this address and go back to your web application and paste it inside here. And then you just return your client. So that's all for your helper configuration. Next, we need to create a model, or we need to pass our API model inside our model folder. So you can create a class, just name it a project. And here you can go back to your API system, the project API, and open up your project model. You can copy all of them and go back to your web application model and paste into it. So that's all for the model setting. And one more thing is you don't need this current over here, because we are not going to use this model to create our table in the database as the one in our project API. And next, we need to go to our view, our home, under the home folder, the index view, because this will be the view that's going to be called by default. We need to create this input form, the input field for the user to input the data. I will start by creating a form. And the method inside the form is the post. We're going to use this post method to post our data. And we need a ASP action. Let's say I call it a save. So it means after that I need to create a save inside our home controller. So next, we can create a table. We can use this table layout to create this input fields for the user to input the data. And this video I will use this viewBed.name to set the default value for our input field. I will explain about this viewBed later. So we have created this our input field for the title, and we use all this class to do the styling for our HTML outlook. So I will show you later on. So after that, we need another tool for the owner and the due date. So just copy and paste and change this label to owner and this one to the due date. And we need to change this name here because this name will be have to match the name inside our model. For example, title. Then you go to your model project. It has to be same like this one, the title over here. So all the naming over here has to be same. So this one is the owner, and this one is the title due date. For this viewBed, you can name anything, but I think it's better for you to use the same definition. We cannot use the title. We need to call it out as a name. Because this viewBed title already been reserved by this viewBed title. I need to let me create this controller in our home controller first, and then after that we'll come back to this index view. So now let's go to our home controller and let's delete out all the unnecessary. We need an object to get our HTTP client object inside our helper. The project API that we had assigned inside our helper. This one, we need to call the class project API class in our home controller. So just assign an object name underscore API new project API. And in this index here, let's set the default. Here we had an error, so we need to use this our helper to let system know the location of our helper or this project API class. And let's create a buildback dot. Just get a sender buildback name over here. Project ID equal to, I will set the ID to equal to 0. And I haven't set this buildback ID already in our the index build. I will set this one later on. Let's set another buildback for our input field. Buildback dot we have this name. So I want it to be just a dash by default, and our owner same the dash buildback due date. I want to set the today date as the default inside this due date input field. So you can type that time dot now dot add day, and if you put 0 is mean today, you put 1 is mean tomorrow, and you put minus 1 is yesterday. So I just put 0 dot to string to set the format of our due date. You can set you want this date first, followed by the month and the year. So let's run this system, and you can see that our input field already start title, owner, and the due date has been set the default value from our controller. So this is how we set how we pass the value or object in our controller into our index build by using this buildback. Next, we just create this project. We need to create a list. Next, we need to use this list. So after that, now we can start to call our HTTP client. And I just name this. I just name it client. And you can call it by using this object API. Alright, dot. So now that's using this using .NET or HTTP, so that we can use this HTTP client over here. Send it the one that I down in this our helper. So next we can use this HTTP response message and just name it response client dot get a synchronize. Now you can call the action for our API project. For example, you call get all project, or you want to get project by ID, or you want to get add project or update project by ID or delete project by ID. So here I will just type in API. I will need to specify the address of our API project and get dash or dash project. And we have error here because we need to set if you want to use this get a synchronize, you need to put in this synchronize over our index and put in this task. So the error will gone. So here, if we had data inside the database, then we can use this if condition to check to check our response. So you can type response dot is success status cost or not. It means if we successfully connect to the database, then we can start to do something over here. For example, you can set the result to the response, the content dot and read content dot read as a string or synchronize dot result. Now you need to pass this information, this database data, into the JSON format. You need to convert it into the JSON format and then store them inside our project, inside this our project list here. So you type JSON convert, and you can see that you have an error here because you need to install another packet for you to do this JSON conversion. So you can hover your mouse over this error message here, and you select, click on this drop down error, and you can see that it asks you to install this packet. So you can say you want to use this packet manager, so you can just click on this, and it will bring you to this packet manager nugget. And then go to this browse, and you're going to search for this JSON Newton solver.json. You just click on it and click on this install. Your dependency, you can check inside here. Now you already successfully installed this packet, so now you can close this window here and go back to your controller, and you need to click on this using Newton solver.json. For you to use this JSON convert .d, and then put in our list project. Then our result. By writing in this way, it means all our data inside this table or the database were converted into the JSON format and stored inside our this project list here. Next, we can use this for each to look over the. Now we can store all this data into our project model list. Project. You can add one or add this by typing news project. Next, inside here you can just code in all these property inside our project model. Inside this project model. So we have title equal to or title, and owner equal to this one is a project, not project ID. Project, and you cannot find this project property inside our project model, so we need to create this list of project inside our project model as well. So let's go back to our project model here. You need to create this list project and name this one project, and it have to be public equal to new list project. So now we already set this database data into our list here. Next, we need to here you write a list project. Just name it model. Just use other name. Let's say model equal to the list. This list is this one. So we already add the data into this list. So we have to say the list dot project dot to list. Just pass this model into this our view here, and to display this data, this model data into our view, you have to go back to your index view here, and at the very top of your file, you need to type model, and we need to use the type called IEnumerable, and we need to put our model project with application 7 dot model dot project. Next, we can use this our model inside here. So let's create a table to display the data that we have gathered from the database. And I'm going to create a table with the ID. I just call it a table data. And I need to assign the header of this table. So I'm going to use this th, and first column will be the ID, and we need the second column owner. The second one I'm going to name in a title, followed by the owner and due date. Next, we need the body of our table, so we can use this voice. Alright, in model, and this model with this capital upper cap M, where hold the content from this model, which is from our home controller, from our API service or this API project get all project. Let's go back to our table and let's complete this table. And next you can pass in I project ID. Next is the title and owner. Last one is the due date. Let's try to run this our application. As you can see that we have successfully been in this data from the database by using this HttpPost get all project from our API. You can do some styling for this your table by using the CSS to do the styling. And you know that this our data ID is not in order, so you want this your data to be displayed in this table by using this ID order, and you need to change something inside your API. So let's go back to our API. So let's this is your API code, and you need to start your API first, and inside this project service, and you look for this get all project. After this our project table name, you need to put in order by. Then you need to pass in into here. If you want to let your data follow the order by your project ID, you just put project ID here. You want your data to follow your title, you can put in this title here. But here I'm going to use this project ID. So let's restart our API, and you can see that inside our this JSON file of our this API here, you already order your data in by the ID. And now let's go back to our web application and try to run again our application. And you can see that this time our data is in the order of the ID 1789. Next, I will just very quickly show you how to make a very simple CSS file to styling our this table. Go to your www here, and under this CSS file, open out this site.css, and just scroll down end of this file here, and we can start to do the some styling for our table data. I think it's good enough. Let's run again our application. As you can see, there are our table now look better, and when you hover your mouse or cursor over the table, it will highlight the selected data. Let's go back to our project. I want to create a save button, and I want the user to key in into this input field here. And when I click on this save button, this data will going to be set into our database, and it's going to display inside this table here. So let's go to our index view first, and we need to create the save button here. I will just give a breadline first, and then input, and we're going to create this submit button, and I'm going to use this bootstrap to styling our this submit button. and I'm going to call this submit button set. Let's create another object for our project ID. And the value I'm going to pass in this view bed project ID. That's all. And next I need to it means when I click on this submit button, you are going to submit this form and call this save action. So I need to clear this save action into in our home controller. So go back to our home controller here, and just somewhere around here, you need to create a save action. And another object called action. Here I'm going to because this saver is not only to create this new data into the database, we also can use this saver action to update the data in our database. So I need to pass in two actions. One is if we use this our API project HttpPost update project by ID, and then pass in the ID project ID, and then we can use this if condition. We can say if our project ID equal to 0, then we are going to reset this action to repeat project add project. So what I mean here is add. What I mean here is if our project ID is mean if our this project ID is 0 values, it means we are going to create a new data. If it is not 0, it means we want to update the data in the database. Next, we need to create this HTTP response message, and I'm going to name this response RSS word. This time I'm going to use this post synchronize, because we're going to change the content. We're going to order the data in the database. Last time we used this get asynchronous because we just get the data from the database. And we can put in this our action, and we need two parameters. Another one is we need this content. Next, let's check this response by using this ensure success status code, and we use this if condition. If our response is success status code, then we can set a create object called result. Our response contain read as string asynchronous dot result, and then this one we're going to execute our HttpPost of update project by ID or add project depending on our project ID condition in our API. We need to return our view back to the index, so we can use this redirect to action, and we want to back to this index action in the home controller. I think it's okay now. Let's run our web application, and let's try to input some value inside this our title. Let's say I want to create a new project S by John, and I just read this. Just said on the due date is on the 18th, and this ID is set at 0. So we are going to add project to the database. So click on this set button here, And you can see we had added a new data into the database. Next, I want to show you how to update the data. To update the data, you need to select this the data in this table here. How to do this? We need to use this jQuery to help us to do this table click function. So let's go back to our Visual Studio Code here, the web application, and let's go to our www root here, and we have this JavaScript file, and I want you to open out the JavaScript file, site.js file, and by default there's nothing inside here, and I want to use this jQuery. And because we call get element by ID, so we need to set the ID attribute in our input field. So go back to our index view here, and scroll out to our input field here, and you can see I already put in this ID. If you haven't, you need to put in this ID attribute by calling this title, owner, and the due date. And in our project ID, you also need to have this ID attribute, project ID. I think it's okay now. Let's run our application again. As you can see now, if I click on this project B, nothing happened. Let's check what is the error. So you can press on this F12 on your keyboard. And I think there's something wrong with I had typo error in our this site.js file. So let's go back to our JavaScript file. It's over here on the line number 7. I have to use this symbol. Do this. Okay, I think it's okay now. So let's run again our application. And now let's try to click on this project C, and you can see that our input field have been set to this project C owner, and we have this project ID. Now I change this owner to let's say Mr. A. I click on this search button, and you will see that it has outdated this data of the ID number 8. The owner has changed to Mr. A. Let's try another one, D, and let's make it Mr. B, and let's click on this search button again, and you can see it update this data for us. And next I want to create another button to delete the data. Let's go back to our Visual Studio here, and let's go to our index view. Let's create another submit button. I just copy paste it, and then I will change this value to delete, and I will going to create a API action, and I call it maybe delete data. And let's go to the home controller, and you need to create this delete data action. You can copy all of this and paste over here, and change this action name to delete data. And let delete out all this because you only want to delete the data. And you change this our API HttpPost to delete project by ID. I think that's all. Let's run. Before I run this application, I want to go back to our index view, and I want to change the button to the color. I don't want to use this info. I want to use this dangerous. Let's run our this web application. And you have this delete button, delete submit button here. So you need to select the data first. For example, I want to delete this project S. You select it, and you click on this delete button, and it will delete out this data from the database and remove it away from this table over here. So I think that's all for this tutorial. Here I show you how easy that you can do this CRUD by using this DbContext and this API to help you to communicate. Use this HttpPost and HttpGet to fetch the data from the database, and how you can use this HttpClient to ask the API to do this CRUD. So you have any question, you can just comment below the video here. And one again, if you want to, I have provided this soft course for this tutorial also below this video. And please subscribe if you think that this tutorial is helpful. And see you again. And in the next video, I will start to guide you step by step to create this task management system as I have been demonstrated to you in the first video. So see you again in the next video. Thank you.